I don't understand the tradition of hunting for eggs on Easter.
Someone's getting into the Easter spirit.
Got the chocolate rabbit, you got painted eggs, all the important religious icons are there.
On Easter Sunday, the Easter Beagle passes colored eggs to all the good little kids.
This Sunday, you're probably going to see a giant bunny.
Take a styrofoam peanut, stick a beak on it, boom, marshmallow Pete.
From England to Brazil. Germany to Argentina. We've got you covered. Welcome to the Throw-In. Here are your hosts, Garrett Green, Justin Simmons, and Kit McConico.
Good morning, Austin, Texas, and happy Easter to all of you listening on your way to or from church this morning. We're glad that you decided to join us here on 104.9 for the Throw-In. Myself, Garrett Green, Kit McConico alongside, as always, Justin Simmons is here, and of course our fantastic producer, Zach Christo, who put together that great Easter montage, is here. And guys, it was a 2-week break, but it is back. It is finally back.
Towards Kuyat, it's reached him! Kuyat scores! Herrera! Manchester United in front. Falcao in the middle, joined by Mata and Rooney. Rooney's touch, Rooney's goal! Magnificent from Wayne Rooney! Villa looking for a quick response. Joe Cole with the corner, and they've got that goal back. Christian Benteke. Options right and left. Mata, Herrera, game over now.
Barton's there too. Joey Barton! Wraps up a wonderful day for Queen's Park Rangers. Hazard rolls it into the net beautifully. Clean through, Remy!
Oh, again, a big thanks to Zach. Guys, you know, we said that the English Premier League, they didn't have a team make their way into the Champions League final, but is there any doubt that it is the best league in the world after the action that we saw this weekend?
Well, I'm still not sure if it's the best league in the world. I think La Liga pretty much lays the claim to that still, considering their top two teams. But man, the goals scored this past weekend, outstanding. Adam Gold, goal of the year, easily. Benteke, wonderful strike. And now we have a vintage Wayne Rooney back for Man United. And man, I am so scared to see the Red Devils, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get into all that in just a moment. Talk a little bit about what happened with Manchester United this week and the game coming up for them this next weekend. But Kit, the Premier League is back in style.
Oh, without a doubt. I was just impressed. They had a Chuchu Esteban Cambiaso's goal in there from Leicester City, that big win. Anytime an Argentine gets in on the action, it makes me happy. So thanks to Zach for that. And well, obviously, I think we have to start with what transpired yesterday between Arsenal and Liverpool.
Yeah, it was a big match. It's a match that saw two teams that were fighting for one of those top four spots in the table to try and get into Champions League. This coming the week of Raheem Sterling talking about how he maybe wanted to play at Arsenal leading up to the match. And then here comes Liverpool, who had been rolling pretty high out of the gate in 2015, and all of a sudden, guys, they are in a free fall as they lose to Arsenal by a final score of 4-1, giving up goals in the 36th, 39th, and 44th minute.
3 goals in the last 8 minutes before the end of the first half. Simply cannot do that. That will not get it done. You mentioned Liverpool in a free fall. Things not going the way of the Reds. Arsenal, conversely, currently in second for the time being. We'll see if that holds, but the Gunners, very impressive. Didn't expect this kind of showing from them. I expected a good match, something along the 2-2, 3-2 scoreline, but Arsenal just jumping all over and taking control before the break. That was it.
Well, the truth is that you can't show up for just 4 months out of the year and expect to claim a Champions League spot like the way Liverpool has been playing as of late.
Since when? It works for United.
Hey,
well, it's a little bit different for United. Let's point out the facts. Liverpool playing without their captain once again, Steven Gerrard. He was suspended along with Skirtle. So they were already pretty thin in the midfield as it was, and Arsenal, who's been in great form as of late, even Olivier Giroud got in on the action. Well, took advantage of the situation, and now they're sitting pretty at the second spot in the table for the BPL currently.
Steven Gerrard already at that really nice Malibu beach house, the $20,000 a week beach house that the LA Galaxy is paying for him. Is he still? He's actually still in Liverpool?
That's what I've heard, anyways.
I mean, based on the way that the weather is in LA right now and the way that it probably is in Liverpool, I would have already moved to the West Coast at this point. But it's a case where about a month ago, guys, we were talking about this as Liverpool was the hottest team in the Premier League, and Arsenal, they were starting to make a little bit of a push, but remember, they struggled against Monaco in Champions League play, and they didn't look particularly great in the Premier League. Now, as you said, Justin, they're sitting in second place behind Chelsea.
And it's just very impressive what Arsene Wenger always does. And he does this all the time. He has the talent there. Sometimes he isn't able to put it together early, and all of a sudden they start making a run towards the top of the table towards the end of the season.
Question for you two. How impactful was Raheem Sterling's decision to say that he might like to play as trade at Arsenal, have the contract talks? How important was that in the loss, or what effect, I should say, did that have on Sterling and Liverpool?
I think that's tough to say. Brendan Rodgers has usually done a good job in the face of adversity, but there's no doubt that it was definitely on the minds of the fans, of the players, of the whole club this week. It had more drama than an episode of Melrose Place leading into this contest.
And in case you guys missed it, here's what happened this week over in England. Raheem Sterling, the young striker for Liverpool, gave an interview with the BBC last week in which he said that he rejected a £100,000 a week contract offer, saying that he wasn't a money grabber and that he had interest in playing at Arsenal and that it was quite flattering to get it. And then Brendan Rodgers comes out later in the week and hammers his own player, saying that he shouldn't have even done that interview in the first place, saying him in particular, you don't talk about other parties leading into a match.
I think Sterling was trying to use this as a little bargaining chip, a little leverage with Liverpool, saying there are offers out there for my talents, and you're going to have to meet these offers that are currently on the table. That being said, you don't do this the week before a match, especially a match this caliber, this important in the top four. Arsenal, they just took control. They were the better team from the opening, as we said, 3 goals in 8 minutes. And Liverpool, it's very important to see what Liverpool does bouncing back from this. If they get a victory in their next match, or if they continue this free fall.
Well, we didn't mention the most important thing that he had said. The biggest thing is that he said that it wasn't about the money. He wanted to win trophies. So why is he thinking about playing at Arsenal? Just saying.
Hey, whoa. Lay off, all right? They might win the FA Cup for back-to-back seasons.
The luster of the FA Cup has been gone for a little while.
Yeah, I will try to give Arsenal fans the benefit of the doubt here, as I have some very good Arsenal friends. But that being said, I've never seen a club celebrate a 4th place finish like they won something, as the Gunners do. They finished 4th, and it's like they won Champions League, they won the World Cup, and everything combined.
512-447-3776 if you want to give us a call and sound off, or you can send us a text, 512-337-3776 on the Specs text line. All right, guys. Moving on to the other match that stood out for myself, at least. Manchester United yesterday, a 3-1 victory. And as Justin and I were talking about before the show, Wayne Rooney playing like it's 2006 all over again.
Garrett, don't lie. What we were talking about before the show even started, when I first saw you this morning, is the fact that you probably haven't taken off that jersey since yesterday, because Man U is on a roll, and with the derby coming up next weekend, I am scared to be walking into Old Trafford to see my Sky Blues play the Red Devils. I mean, they're just in fantastic form right now.
Well, what a strike from Rooney. I just wanted to put that in. I mean, he's looking, as you said, the Rooney of old, and he's been really very impressive taking this team on his shoulders. He is the veteran now. It used to be he was the young gun. He was the one who could be a little impetuous. He's the one who could make decisions. Not anymore. With a new coach, a new squad, he's the one who really has to lead the way, and he's doing that. I'm quite surprised, frankly, but he's doing a great job.
I mean, I have to wonder, how much of it do you think makes a difference that now he's playing in that pure striker role up front and he's not playing in the midfield anymore, a position he was very capable at, but now he's in a goal-scoring spot for that squad?
Well, that's the thing about Wayne Rooney. Most people forget, since there's so much pressure on him derived from the English media, is that this guy is a complete player. You can play him anywhere on the pitch and he will succeed, but there are better places for him to play, and he looks more comfortable on top. I want to point out, I think it's because of that new hairline of his. I think that's what's really struck his good play this season.
Really?
You think his plugs have grown in enough? He's had those for, about 4 years now?
Yeah.
The only person who had to get a hair transplant when I think he was about 25.
They filled in nicely.
That notwithstanding, no, Rooney's played fantastic. United has done a good job, and you've got to say that if they can continue this, get a little momentum, get a good run of form, they could be a top 4 finish. They could even fight. I don't think anyone's going to catch Chelsea, and Mourinho said as much. He said we're about 5 wins away. If we can get 5 victories, we secure the EPL. Well, that's coach speak. If they can get 2 or 3 more victories, they will firmly have this year's EPL title in hand.
Yeah, 7-point lead over Arsenal right now, 70 points compared to Arsenal's 63. United with 62, and Man City sitting at 4th with
Garrett,
61.
Before we move on, though, I'll just want to point it out, and just because you mention it all the time, too, and I give you a lot of crap about it, but Angel Di Maria, 10 assists this season. I believe that's what you said.
Yeah.
And it's been very quiet for me. We bashed on him so many times on this show, but he's played rather well as well. Fellaini playing well too. So, I mean, Man United going into next week, it's going to look scary for Man City.
Yeah, it's been good to see him, and he's had kind of a quiet season. It's the fact that he hasn't put a goal on the board yet, I think, is what it is. He might still be looking for his first Premier League goal, or if he has one, he only has one. But as we know, Louis van Gaal in his first season at Manchester United, and after a 3-1 victory that saw United in control for most of the match, Van Gaal, in his very typical enthusiastic fashion after the match was over.
So I'm very pleased with the result. I know the performance could be better, but we won, and that's the most important thing.
That is the voice of a man who just had a 3-1 victory.
We were talking before the match. That doesn't sound like a Dutchman.
That is the Greg Popovich of soccer right there.
Yes.
He's not going to tell you anything. We won 3-1. I'm very happy. This was a good result.
We were able to come away with the victory.
Kid, how come your Cristiano Ronaldo voice sounds like Louis van Gaal?
That's a very good question. I think all my voices sound pretty much the same.
It's something that we'll answer just on the other side of the break. We'll also talk about that U.S.-Switzerland match that happened earlier in the week. Another draw from the United States, another goal given up late. Justin will try and talk myself and Kit off the ledge again. We've got Austin Aztecs. We've got some La Liga and some Cristiano Ronaldo. All that and more coming up next here on The Throw-In on 104.9 The Horn, where Austin talks sports.
We need to spend less money on our military and our space program and put all of our money into soccer. And all of us playing soccer 24 hours a day. We need to be kicking checkered balls into nets and teaching our children to do so. I have traveled the world, ladies and gentlemen, and the only way we're going to break the hearts of the rest of the world is by beating them at the only thing they truly love in life. And if you're an American and you have a hard time enjoying soccer, here's a little tip for you to enjoy it. When a soccer match is on television, turn the sound all the way down and put on the theme song to Benny Hill over and over. And then everybody running around aimlessly kind of makes a little bit more sense.
Welcome back to The Throw-In. Here are the guys from FC Cap City.
Welcome back to The Throw-In here on 104.9 The Horn. Great. Zach, just our manager behind the glass, just killing it today. Making us all laugh.
You brought your A game this morning, Zach.
Yeah. Tom Rhodes. That was Tom Rhodes.
There you go.
Hey, in other news, though, the United States arena soccer team actually did win the Arena World Cup.
Really?
So we're starting from the bottom. We'll eventually be there.
Why don't you tell us something
I'm embarrassed
about
you
that?
even brought that up.
Oh, I remember. I told Kit
it's like saying we won the Beach World Cup. No. There's no arena. There's no beach. There's no indoor. If you win the game on the outdoor field, then you have something to talk about. This is like Arsenal celebrating their 4th place finish.
So you're talking about the Homeless World Cup? It's a real thing, folks.
I'm
They
not
have the
I'm not
documentary on
touching
Netflix.
that one.
Really?
Yes, for
All
real.
right, yeah, I'm with Kit. I'm going to move on from that one.
Hey, man, it's the world's game. It goes on many facets.
This is true. This is The Throw-In here on 104.9 The Horn. If you want to listen to us again throughout the week, you catch anything you missed, you can catch us on SoundCloud. It's The Throw-In. Just search for it on there. Follow us on Twitter at FC Cap City. We'll tweet out the link to it. And if you want to get in touch with us today, you can text us 512-337-3776. We're glad that you made us part of your morning on your way to church, and a very happy Easter to everybody. But guys, we got to get into this. The fact that the U.S. took on Switzerland in the middle of the week, Wednesday, another international friendly. Brek Shea with an unbelievable strike on a free kick right before halftime. But then you get down to it. There's about 12 minutes left to go in the match. And what happens? The U.S. gives up the equalizer, and it's the same story, different chapter that we've seen over and over again out of this men's national team.
Oh, so you guys are just going to let me try to defend them first before you guys start bashing on us this week.
Yeah. This is a team with one win in their last 8 appearances, a team that they've had leads in their past 2 games. They've lost them, one for a loss, the 3-2 deficit going down to Nicholas Bentner and 10 other Danes. And then the draw with Switzerland. Obviously, these are friendlies, and you looking ahead to the Gold Cup and what's coming up this summer, but this is worrying, certainly from a U.S. men's national point of view. Not being able to hold a lead, not being able to kill the game, so to speak. Switzerland coming back, getting that equalizer, as you said, in the last 10 minutes of that one. And that's unacceptable for an international squad.
I understand, but guys, like I said last week, it's a friendly. It's a friendly on the road in Europe, and the United States usually doesn't play too well away from home. And you know what? They're playing well on the road to at least get the draws. They're getting results. Now, my biggest concern about, U.S. fans just kind of piling on when the U.S. isn't playing that well, we're slowly turning into the people we hate. We're turning into the English. The English bash the England team from the beginning to the end. It doesn't matter how good England plays. Until they win a World Cup, they'll never be satisfied. And even then, they'll still not be as good as the 1966 World Cup winning team.
Says the man with the 2.5 Lions jersey on.
Well, there's a third one up on there. It's just a little damaged right now. But you understand how it
I think
goes.
they took that one off the crest somewhere around 1986. They are now the 2 Lions.
No, wait, 1990. They played very well in Turin.
Played very well to not win a World Cup.
No, but they got to the semi. That's still further than the United States. Look, again, it's the same exact argument from last week. We got some new guys in. Hey, Willie Yarborough got his first cap for the United States men's national team. He's officially part of the U.S. system from here on out.
Yeah, shout out to our friend Arch Bell's cousin down there playing his trade for Leon in central Mexico.
You guys need to pull up a picture of Willie Yarborough and Arch Bell. They look way too similar, don't they, Kit?
It's eerie. It is very eerie. We say that that's Arch's cousin or who knows, maybe nephew. I'm not entirely sure.
Hey, Danny Williams, the German-American, got his first start since the Honduras game a couple of years ago. John Brooks, the German-American that's always getting pushed down our throats from Klinsmann, he played very well.
Brooks played well. I was impressed. I think Brooks did a great job. Timothy Chandler, absolutely terrible game in my opinion, played pathetically, and I hate to say that, but just did a poor job, gave it away too often. And, well, the USA, they're going to be without one of their stars. Josie Altidore can't play against Mexico April 15th down at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. Picked up the red against Switzerland. That'll be a big deal, and well, that is an absolutely huge match.
I mean, you can't do what Altidore did. I understood that he felt like he was fouled. He turns around and fouls somebody. That would have been a yellow, but to stand up and blatantly scream obscenities at the official right there, you can't do that to draw a straight red, put your team down to 10 men, and then in arguably the most important friendly that the United States is going to have, one that you're actually going to have on your home turf.
We all know it's not a home game.
But in a big setting on U.S. soil, well,
there you go, U.S. soil, yes.
Yeah, technically
it's
U.S.
still North
soil.
Mexico.
Your words, not mine.
It's true.
But a game where everybody knows Altidore is one of the few names that people know on that squad, and he's not going to be able to play in that match now.
I understand. And look, I'm pretty sure if you ask most U.S. soccer fans, how's the crowd going to be at the Alamo Dome? It's going to be Thunderdome, man. It's going to be 65,000, and it's going to be 95% of Pancho Villa's army there. And the people from Mexico will fly in for this game to root on El Tri.
Oh, there will be caravans coming from all parts of northern Mexico, Matamoros, Monterrey, Torreon. They will be coming up, and make no mistake about it, this is a friendly in name only, an absolutely huge match. Both teams looking ahead this summer toward the Gold Cup, and, well, Mexico also playing in the Copa America down in Chile.
And guys, before we move on, because I do want to preview this matchup a little bit that they're going to have coming up against Mexico on April 15th. But Justin, just to your point, what you said, well, this is the U.S. playing on the road. They struggle to play on the road. Guess what? They don't get to play the World Cup at home. You have to play that gap. You have to play those matches on the road.
Well, it's because we didn't offer enough bribe money.
Exactly. You have to be able to win on the road. And the other problem with this is that there still aren't diehard soccer fans in America, and whenever you're watching,
we're right here.
Whenever you're watching shows like Pardon the Interruption, and they've got on the rundown, they talk, and all they have for the blurb is U.S. men's team draws with Switzerland, and their opinion is this is yet another match that the U.S. draws late and they blow a lead. That becomes what gets circulated into the mainstream media here in the U.S., and that's a problem for growing the game in America.
The U.S. is the second fastest growing soccer country in the world after only China. This game is exploding. We see it at the USL level with the Austin Aztecs, NASL level, San Antonio Scorpions, obviously MLS, Dallas, and Houston. The game is taking over all sports. It used to be a youth sport. It's what you played as a kid. It's what you played when you were 10, 12, and then you did something else. Not the case anymore, and thankfully so. And one thing is, Americans like to win. We know that. We have a thing. We like to win. We like to be the best, and we're starting to translate that to soccer. It's only a matter of time. This U.S. team is going to continue to get better. I, for one, think this is a hiccup. It's a big hiccup. It's an issue. It's something that needs to be addressed, but it's not something that we need to pull our hair out. We don't need to lose any sleep about it. The U.S. continues to get better. We continue to get better talent. It doesn't matter where they come from. And you alluded to the German Americans, the Mexican Americans. They're Americans. This is what this country's about. We're a melting pot. If you have American citizenship, we will gladly take you. You can be Willie Yarbrough from American missionary parents who grew up in Mexico. You can be John Brooks and grow up in Germany. If you want to put on the red, white, and blue, we will gladly have you to represent it.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, if you can put the soccer ball in the back of the net like Aaron Johansson, we will gladly bring you over from Iceland and sign you up for the Stars and Stripes. But, this one thing that kind of concerns me about a contest like this, we are in that new generation of soccer players. We're losing a lot of those veterans that went into the Azteca and had heinous things happen to them. The bus being shaken before you walk in, bottles filled with God knows what thrown at you, batteries, flares, anything that you can think of, the taunts.
That's all part and parcel to a game anywhere else in the world, and that's one thing Americans have to get used to. We have trouble winning in Mexico and Central America because we're not used to people shaking the bus or throwing bottles filled with who knows what. The rest of the world, that's what you deal with in a third division game, let alone an international friendly.
Well, I understand, but I'm wondering if this new crop of U.S. players understands how personal this match is. Because those veterans before, there was no respect for any U.S. soccer, especially from the people from Mexico. And my best friend's from Mexico, and he would just laugh at me. He's like, okay, you guys got a result. That's good. But then when we walked into the Azteca and got a result, they were like, oh, you guys still didn't win. It's not a big deal.
Times are changing, and mark my words, the USA will win a World Cup before Mexico.
Oh, I think that's definitely true.
Bold words from Kit McConico.
No, it's true. The Mexican national team couldn't even get their best player to play for them this past World Cup.
That's a good point. But it should be a fascinating matchup. On April 15th, U.S.-Mexico.
Is Carlos Vela going to be there?
That's a very good question. I know he's on the list. If he plays, we'll see. Man, that's been an issue with Mexico. Is bringing in. You mentioned Vela. You mentioned some of their players, and they've had issues with Dos Santos, with Vela, with some guys not wanting to play, having issues with the coaching staff. We'll see if that's the case with Piojo Herrera, the now head man of the Mexican national team.
Yeah, it's a very corrupt system, unfortunately, for the Mexican national team, and they can't secure most of their best players to play for their squad. Chicharito should walk in. He's going to take things personal. You heard him come out this week saying he's tired of being a super sub. You thought his loan was going to be a great experience, and guess what? When you're sitting behind the BBC, that's not the case.
Absolutely. All fascinating stuff and things that we'll get into more next week with that match coming up
USA.
Shortly after that. We'll see how it all works out. Coming up, we've got Aztecs talk. We'll talk a little La Liga, talk about Real Madrid. They had a pretty good result this week, and a couple of other odds and ends stories. All that coming up next on The Throw-In here on 104.9 The Horn, where Austin talks sports.
Hello, you're through to the police. How can I help?
Yeah, could I speak to Sir Alex Ferguson, please?
Not via
please.
999 line, I'm afraid, no.
Sir Alex, the result is all wrong. They had extra time, and it was a total, utter load of rubbish.
So you're actually on the 999 police line. Is there any crime you need to report to the police this evening?
Yeah, a crime, yeah. I'll report a crime. The crime is that Manchester United were absolutely knackered.
Welcome back to The Throw-In. here are the guys from FC Cap City.
Oh, it is the throw-in here on 104.9 The Horn in Austin, Texas, on a very dreary day, to say the least. Probably approximately the same conditions that fan called in for after one of those Sir Alex Ferguson teams had a negative result.
Yeah, thanks to our producer, Zach Christo. He's absolutely killing it today. Just body blow to headshot. I mean, just knocking people out left and right.
Dude, the count making my day this morning, dude. Awesome stuff.
He's got us laughing all the way back into every segment. We're glad that you're tuned in this morning. Very happy Easter to you if you're heading on your way to church. And, of course, a very happy Passover as well to all of our friends of the Jewish faith who might be listening in this morning. But, guys, we got to talk a little bit about what we were all there to witness on Wednesday evening, and that was the Aztecs taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. And Kit, we'll throw it over to you. You were in the booth. You were on the call with our buddy Lincoln Rose as well. And what did you see from up in your vantage point in the 3-0 loss on Wednesday night?
Well, it was a tough game for the Aztecs. Obviously, they'd played 4 days previous, that Saturday night, their inaugural game in the USL here in 2015. A big victory to start it off. And going up against the team, the Vancouver Whitecaps 2, that had lost their opening game 4-0 to the Seattle Sounders 2 down in Washington State, just south of Seattle. And a lot of people expected the Aztecs to be the heavy favorites. I certainly did, watching film of these two teams. But the Aztecs, very different from the squad we saw on Saturday night. Statistically, they dominated 16 shots to 6, but the problem was 3 of the 6 shots for WFC2 found the back of the net, 3-0 the final. And the Aztecs just never able to get traction, never able to get any momentum. They played well, a lot of one-on-one, a lot of individual play, and I expect that to dissipate as the season continues. Teams start to gel, and guys get to know each other, trust each other a bit more. But a tough result. The good news is they had a bounce back last night in Tulsa, a 2-0 victory over the Roughnecks. But the Aztecs, it's going to be a tough season. Moving up a league, playing in the USL, things get better, playing against deeper teams. As we said, LA Galaxy 2, Whitecaps 2, Seattle Sounders 2, clubs of that caliber with affiliations to MLS teams. So it was one of those learning experiences for Austin. They seemed to get something out of it, and the result last night, very positive. But from a fan's point of view, you guys, very different perspective.
Absolutely. We got out and had all access passes, and Justin and I spent the evening. We started off over at the tavern and marched down with Eberle's Army. And
I didn't see you guys a lot. I figured you were hanging out in the Shiner Bach Beer Garden.
Well, that was our first stop, kid.
Yeah. Made our way over there. We got the best piece of advice from our bartender there whenever we went in and dropped in before the game, and he said, hey, at halftime, everybody floods over here, so you might want to go ahead and be in the area just before halftime. So about the 40th minute, we made our way down, and we stood at the fence and watched the end of the first half wrap up. Got over to the beer garden and waited behind, one person?
Yeah, 1 or 2 people.
And then after we had our shiners and we were standing over, we turned back around, and the line is 25 people long on all 3 stations that they had.
Well, question for you guys from your point of view, how impressive is it what the Aztecs organization has done to House Park? The new seats, the beer garden, all the stuff for the kids to do. It's a wonderful, it's not just a soccer game, it's an event.
Oh, yeah. It's a great outing. I really had a great time. For being broadcasters around the Central Texas area, we're at House Park a lot, and it looks completely different for an Aztecs game than it does for a regular high school football game. They have these beautiful seats that have an actual back in them, so you can sit. You don't have to sit on the steel, on the steel bleachers. If you get one of the, I believe that's reserve seating, or no, that's the club seating. I can't remember what you call it.
I believe that is the club seating.
But they have it on both sides of the 50-yard line, or midfield in this case, and it extends rather well. Eberle's Army. Oh my gosh, it's a Wednesday night. I think they might have only about 20 people out, and they fill up their little section of the supporters section, and you do not hear them stop until the game is officially over. And even then, they still wait around to cheer on their Aztecs.
Well, and you were saying, both of you're impressed with the knowledge, not only of Eberle's Army, but of the general fans knowing so much about the game and commenting and say, oh, you need to send the ball here, you need to play to wide spaces, things of that nature.
Garrett, you're the one that actually pointed that one out. We were sitting on the west side of the stadium because we moved around a lot. We wanted to get a real good look of how things operate on game day for the Aztecs. And we're sitting at the very top in the regular reserve section where you just buy a ticket and you can sit wherever you want. And these fans are talking about Chris Tierpak, and they have really good knowledge about the team. And you can see when they make mistakes. They clap when they know that they get a good run, a good counterattack going. And I was just really impressed where they're like, oh, you shouldn't have made that run. You should have saw this guy. He was open. I'm like, I thought people were just coming here just to have a good time. But no, the people that come to these games are really intently there to watch good technical soccer.
That being said, you don't have to be a super fan to go to an Aztecs game. You can go hang out and watch a little bit, and go to the beer garden and hang out, and go to the bounce house and so on and so forth. But there are a lot of people that from the opening whistle to the 90th minute, they are fully focused on what's happening on the pitch.
Oh, yeah, it was fantastic to see what kind of an environment was created there. And obviously, it's a Wednesday night, so it wasn't packed out, but it was still a great showing. And as Justin said, we noticed it when we're sitting there, and you hear people from the other side of you saying things that, we think that we have a pretty intimate knowledge of the game, and we're sitting there saying the exact same things, and then a second later, you hear it echoed in the stands just to the left of you. Very impressive from the fact that so many people are, as you said, so involved in the game and really understand what's happening. They understand the complexities of the match, but it is a fantastic and great environment to be a part of.
Yeah, when people say that soccer has arrived in Austin, Texas, and that the fan base is here, I mean, that's the reason for shows like this, because we truly believe, before we even came on air, is that the fan base is here and people want to talk about this sport. And we saw it when we went out to House Park. People are here in this area that want to talk soccer on many different levels.
Yeah, tough loss Wednesday night. The good news is the only home weeknight game of the entire season, going down 3-0 to the visitors from north of the border, Vancouver Whitecaps 2. The good news is, well, the Aztecs, big bounce back last night up north of the border. Another border, this is the Red River we're referring to, as they beat the Tulsa Roughnecks 2-0 in Oklahoma. Chris Tierpak, our good friend here on the throw-in, well, he got both goals, and a very, very good start for Chris. I thought he'd been pressing a little too hard, but glad to see he got 2 goals last night, and hopefully this will just be the start of a phenomenal year for him. Again, remember, this young man, last time he was in the USL, he was the MVP of the PDL back in 2013.
Yeah, we had Chris on our show last week. He came on and talked. Great interview, great young man. And we noticed that a little bit on Wednesday night whenever we saw them play, was that Chris was ranging in the midfield and coming forward, but it seemed like he didn't quite hit a groove, obviously breaking that last night against Tulsa and coming away with both goals in a game that the Aztecs really dominated against the Roughnecks.
Well, I think the issue on Wednesday night is that they gave up the opening goal really early, and it was off a turnover in their defensive third. And then after that, they really just couldn't regain the momentum that was necessary to match up. And again, Kit mentioned they had a lot of shots on goal. Caesar, again, using his speed, he was all over the pitch that night. And they played well to a certain extent, but they just couldn't get the finish. Saturday night, a much different story. Tierpak gets moved over to the very top instead of the right wing where he normally plays. Cuero gets the start instead of Caesar. And apparently that kind of really helped make the difference. I mean, I was talking with Kit before we came on air, and there was other changes made as well in the back line and in the midfield. And maybe, I'm not saying this is going to be the starting 11 going from here on forward, but I mean, the changes obviously worked.
They absolutely did, and that's what you have to do. Paul Dalglish's such a good head coach. He knows how to tinker just enough. You don't want to change too many things. You want to keep really the core of your team and kind of add and subtract pieces as you see fit. But great result last night, and Devin Perales, his second clean sheet in 3 games. Young man faced 22 shots, had 8 saves, and he's one of the better goalkeepers in the in the USL. His defense didn't give him a lot of help Wednesday night, but good to see him with another clean sheet. And I expect the Aztecs just to get right back to what they do, and that's winning.
So that means that we have a huge game coming up on Saturday between the Aztecs and Arizona United, who is also undefeated as well, because they have 2 straight victories. So they're sitting near the top of the table along with Seattle Sounders 2 and Portland Timbers 2 with 6 points.
Yeah, that's going to be a great game. Arizona United, just one of the better teams, one of the favorites of the USL, and Saturday night, 8 p.m. at House Park. It's going to be a great matchup, and we will really see where the Aztecs are 3 games into the season.
Yeah, you guys mentioned the fact that they switched things up a little bit last night, and that's what those first couple of matches are for in the season. You've obviously had preseason play where you've seen some other competition at higher levels, like in the Pro Challenge when they brought in 3 MLS teams, like whenever they played the Hill Country Derby and had an opportunity to go up against an NASL team in San Antonio. But until you actually see the competition that you're playing against in season, you can't necessarily set your lineup. So interesting to see moving forward, as you heard Justin mention there earlier. Big matchup for the Aztecs. The next time that you can catch them in action, it'll be Saturday night at 8 p.m. at House Park as they take on Arizona United.
And we hope to be there to watch that one live as well.
Yeah, I think that we'll make our way out.
Kit will.
Yeah, Kit will be there. Kit will be on the call with our buddy Lincoln Rose, and we'll hopefully be out at the stadium. Give us a follow on Twitter at FC Cap City. We might actually live tweet this experience that we have.
Yeah, and if you see us out there, come by and say hi. I know those beers cost about $4, but if you're of age, they check you before you get into the beer garden. I'll buy you one.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great conversation with a guy down there in the beer garden whose daughter had played at McCallum High School, I think. So he had a rather intimate knowledge of soccer and about soccer at House Park.
He was wearing a Chilean club Universidad jersey. That's how I knew that he
shout out to the McCallum Knights, the alma mater of our producer, Mr. Zach Christa, behind the glass.
Our fantastic producer Zach, who has made us laugh coming back into every segment. Stick with us through the break. I'm sure that Zach's got something funny on the other side. We've got your funny random stories of the week, a little bit of Cristiano Ronaldo, as we have to do every week, and we'll also have our game of the week. All that coming up in the final segment here on the Throw-In on 104.9 The Horn, where Austin talks sports.
Schieber, Reus in die Mitte, wir machen rein, Tor, 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 Tor für Borussia Dortmund, 3:2, hier rasten alle aus.
Welcome back to the Throw-In. Here are the guys from FC Cap City.
Oh, welcome back into the Throw-In. We're so glad to have you tuned in this morning. If you're listening on 104.9 The Horn, if you're listening to us on hornfm.com, of course, you can stream us from anywhere around the country and around the world, and you can also listen back to the show on SoundCloud, where The Throw-In, if you search for us there. Justin, I believe that you had a shout-out for us for a couple of our international fans.
Oh, yeah, we have a big international following. People in Tecmo, Mexico listen up. People in Japan listen to us, but we have a really big following in Hellevoetsluis, the Netherlands. So
really?
A big shout-out to those guys if you come back, and I know they'll listen to us on SoundCloud, so we just wanted to say hi. From Austin, Texas to Hellevoetsluis, Netherlands.
Well, we also want to say, and we appreciate anybody who listens into the show, and if you want to participate this morning, Zach, can we have that call again really quick?
Schieber, Reus in die Mitte, wir machen rein, Tor, 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 Tor.
All right, so if you could tell us what country that is from, send us a text on the Specs text line at 512-337-3776. I think we got some free stuff to give away for them, guys.
Yeah, I have an Aztecs car magnet for whoever wants to go in, and I don't believe it's the Indonesian First Division.
You really just took one off the board there. That was an obvious one.
My apologies.
We'll get back into that a little bit later, but send us a text 512-337-3776, or you can call us 512-447-3776. All right, guys. We take a look at what's happening in the world of soccer, and of course, the first thing that pops out to you whenever you look on the main websites this morning, it's the fact that Real Madrid took on Granada this week. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Granada?
You are indeed.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I didn't know if it was Granada.
Well, you forgot the Enya, but
yeah,
it's
there
all
you
good.
go.
I'm
Okay.
just kidding. There's not.
Well, Madrid taking on Granada, and a rather interesting result. Final score 9-1 in this match. And the thing that stands out to you is that Cristiano Ronaldo scored 5 goals in this match. Now, that's impressive.
I heard that it wasn't even Cristiano Ronaldo who scored his final goal in the 89th minute. It was actually a Cristiano Ronaldo stunt double that came in and then scored that final goal. That's how good he is. He kind of willed his stunt double to get a 5th goal that day.
He went ahead and he does he loan a hairpiece out to him for that, or does he just go ahead and?
No, that would be business right there. If you could duplicate that fine coif that's on top of CR7's head, I mean, you could make some real money.
But the real impressive thing about this is that Ronaldo put together a hat trick in 8 minutes. A goal in the 30th minute, a goal in the 36th minute, and then 2 minutes later in the 38th minute. He wasn't done, though, as we said, another goal in the 54th minute, and then his stunt double with a goal in the 89th minute. Just a impressive outing from Real Madrid.
Question, do you think the amount of time that Cristiano spends in the mirror after the game is determined by the number of goals he scores. So if he scores numerous goals, does he spend less time or more time in the mirror after the match?
I thought it was an hour per goal per game, so I'm pretty sure he stood in the mirror, unclothed, of course, because that's the only way that Cristiano Ronaldo can look in the mirror. He can't be wearing clothes while he does it. And then with your fine voice, I love, you guys don't get to see it when we're not on air, but his Cristiano Ronaldo impression is so funny. It's just like, I can already imagine him trying to like comb his hair, and this is like, I'm Cristiano.
Kit, put us in this moment. Cristiano Ronaldo standing there combing his hair. Yeah. He's staring at himself in the mirror.
In all the years I've been a fan of this great game, Cristiano's the only player I have ever seen have two different hairstyles, one in the first half, and he came out for the second 45 with a totally different do, and I'm going to have to find what match that was, but it happened, and I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if his hairstylist came in to the locker room at half, redid it, just had a tub of pomade. I'm not entirely sure, but...
Gave him that fresh fade.
Cristiano, just, what are you going to say?
I am Cristiano.
I just scored goals.
Well, speaking of Ronaldo, another Ronaldo, this El Fenomeno, the huge Brazilian who was fantastic.
Are you saying huge as in overweight?
Cup. He's put on a little girth since his playing days. Now one of the owners at the Fort Lauderdale Strikers of the NASL. And, well, Ronaldo saying things that I would pay money out of my own pocket to sign Messi. And, well, saying something even stranger than that. He goes, the sky's the limit for the Strikers. Why not Messi? Why not Cristiano? In a few years, we'll be able to make it all happen. So very high expectations there for the Strikers in the second division of U.S. soccer.
Well, that's quite impressive. I mean, if anybody's going to have the clout to back that up, it would be Ronaldo, former World Player of the Year, former MVP of the World Cup. I'm sorry, it's not the MVP, but I mean Player of the World Cup.
Yeah, he won the Golden Boot. And
thank you.
Well, the question is, how much money did he save from that illustrious career? If
he's
he has hopes of bringing Messi or Ronaldo to Fort Lauderdale.
I don't think that it'll be hard to get Ronaldo here, but I mean, you would have to essentially give him a deed to half of South Beach if you were going to get Messi to come over and play in the United States, I feel like.
Messi's already said that he won't play anywhere else. If Messi did play anywhere else, he would go back to Newell's Old Boys, the team he grew up playing for in Rosario, Argentina, before at 13 moving to Barcelona. I have a feeling Messi will never play for Newell's again. He's given them millions of dollars out of his own pocket because of his loyalty to his childhood club. He'll finish at the new camp. He'll play his last game there, and he'll never play for another club.
You know, talking about adding on to the lower divisions of U.S. soccer, I heard some news out of the Rio Grande Valley of all places, back at home, shout out to the 956, that the Vipers ownership group has been granted a USL team. So the Austin Aztecs could have a potential rival going down from 35 down to 281, which will eventually become Interstate I-69C. And they'll be playing an unnamed team as soon as they get a stadium built. And that ownership group does own the NBDL Rio Grande Valley Vipers. So this group knows how to put a team together. They'll have that stadium built. And there is people living right on the border in South Texas, on right next to Reynosa and Matamoros, that are just pining to have some professional soccer to be played. I think they'll do very well there.
Yeah, the closest professional teams, either Monterrey in Mexico or San Antonio in Texas. And, well, neither one of those close to the Valley, the Laredo Heat, the closest team there. So keep an eye on that. Big developments in the Rio Grande Valley.
All right, well, guys, real quick, I want to get back to this because we have people who have sent in texts on our guests for where this call came from. Zach, can you give us... All right, so far, we've had someone who texted in England. That is not correct. That is not any English that I've heard. I know people get excited whenever goals are scored, but that is not it. Someone says that's from the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, I believe. That is incorrect as well. And someone else texts in and says Brazil. Sorry, that is not right either. So we still have it out there. Free Austin Aztecs magnet, and maybe we might put some other swag together. Definitely a shout out on the throw-in. If you can guess where that call came from, we'll reveal it before the show comes to an end today.
One bit of news from up the road, and congratulations to, well, my favorite team at River Plate, is their youth squad won the 2015 Generation Adidas Cup up at the Toyota Stadium in Frisco, the home of FC Dallas. The best of 70 teams from across the world competing in this. They beat Eintracht Frankfurt yesterday 1-0 in the final. So my glorious River Plate continues their wonderful run at the youth level. If we can only figure out some way to translate that to our senior team.
You guys will be top flight eventually once again. It'll come.
No comment.
Oh, man. Well, taking a look ahead this week, guys, let's go ahead. We normally squeeze it in way too late, but let's go ahead and get our match of the week this week coming up for you guys. Justin, I think I know where you're going to go, obviously.
Man, do you have to even ask? It's the Manchester Derby, City versus United at Old Trafford. Watch out, folks. Here's my prediction. City, Aguero, 2 goals. Yaya Toure just to finish them off. 3-2 victory. Heartbreaking for United, as always.
I love your optimism.
Gotta have it.
As misplaced as it is.
One thing, I don't know the final, but I can absolutely guarantee you Alwedo will find the back of the net in that game.
I can guarantee you that he will be able to as well, but I bet you that Rooney at least puts 1 on the board. I bet you that Juan Mata probably has another outstanding showing on Sunday of next week.
I'm not going to lie. I am scared of Juan Mata. We didn't talk about him at all today. You should read his blog. He does it in English and Spanish. It's a good read. He's a very... apparently one of the smarter footballers around the world. He's very well educated, and it's a good read.
Yeah, you see it posted every week, and it seems like win or lose, he's always pretty open about what's happening there at Manchester United, and really does a good job sharing his thoughts. The former Chelsea Blue, who is now wearing the red for Manchester United. Great player, great to see him coming into form, and it's great that he got his opportunity when my man, Angel Di Maria went down
I was
for a
just trying
while.
to pay the man a compliment. We don't have to go, completely complimenting him the whole time. It's City till I die.
I don't know what you're talking
City
about,
till I
Justin.
die. Man City wins 3-2. Just
All right.
take it with you next week.
All
We'll
right.
be watching that game somewhere.
And we'll have a preview of that match coming up next week because it will be coming on as soon as this show is wrapping up. But for this week, Kit, what's your match of the week?
Well, somebody's got to instill a little real football in the show. So that being said, the winner of the 2014 Copa Libertadores, San Lorenzo de Almagro from Argentina, the Pope's team, taking on, the greatest team in all of South America, my team, River Plate, the 2014 Copa Sudamericana final, taking on this afternoon, 2 p.m. in the Argentine Primera Division. Should be a really, really good one. River, San Lorenzo, and I have a feeling there may be a man in Vatican City with a TV on watching that one.
It was great to know.
You think he has a little extra pool?
I have a feeling that he is watching every single San Lorenzo game he possibly can, and if he can't watch it, there's somebody there who's going to record it for him.
All right. Well, we do have a winner who has come in on the on this. Let's get this call one more time here. And there you go. We have a couple of people who actually texted in and got it right. That is Germany, and I'll let our producer Zach hop on the mic because Zach, this isn't from a World Cup match or anything like that. What match did that come from?
That actually came from a club match, so no national standings, none of that. Just a regular club match.
Well, if you listen carefully, you can hear the Royce in there, and that is the tip-off to it being German, referring to Marco Royce, but you have to listen very carefully to hear that.
Look at you, Kit, always with the astute ear. This is why we have you on the show. But yes, we do have a winner. We'll go ahead and text you back and figure out a way to get you your free Austin Aztecs magnet that we have.
Not only that, I see from Antonio, Ranger fan, that he said that I was incorrect, that it's going to be United 3-1. I mean, why do you guys have such disbelief? You know we're going to walk into Old Trafford and break your hearts again.
I mean, it's going to be a 0-0 draw, and people are going to turn it off at half.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my match of the week, I'm the last true believer in the FA Cup. Liverpool versus the Blackburn Rovers. That's going to be at 1:45 on Wednesday. I am intrigued by that matchup because I want to see how Liverpool is going to rebound after such a terrible showing against Arsenal, and really the fact that, as we said earlier, they're in a slight bit of free fall at this point. Well, guys, thanks for coming in on Sunday morning. I'd like to thank all of you for spending your Sunday morning with us here on The Throw-In. Remember, you can catch us on SoundCloud. Check The Throw-In. Follow us on FC Cap City on Twitter. Thanks again, everybody. This has been The Throw-In here on 104.9 The Horn, where Austin talks sports.